All right, hello once again. Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over the AppInventor2 Create Your Own Android Apps text by Wolber, Abelson, Spertus, and Looney. And we're in Chapter 2, and I'm about a third of the way through the chapter. So I want to go to the palette, drag out a second horizontal arrangement, place it below the canvas. All right, I'm going to put in 4 buttons. Take picture button, wipe, big dots, and small dots. So when we get done, it should look like this. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come in here again to my layout. I'm going to grab another horizontal arrangement. I'm going to drag it right there. There it is. So again, I want to come in here and I want to set the width to fill parent. There it is. So now I'm going to just drag in my 4 buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it looks like they're not all in there, but they are, and they'll shrink down as we get going. All right, the first one we want to call button take picture. All right, and we want the text on the button to be take picture. So again, these will end up shrinking down. See, that one already has. All right, the second one will be button wipe. And the text for that one will be wipe. All right, the third one will be, I think, is big dots, and the fourth one will be small dots. So this will be button big dots with the text big dots. And the last one will be, let's just do the text right away, that's small dots. And it will be button small dots. All right, so I believe, and again, I could be wrong here, but I believe our interface is now done. Okay? I'm going to go to wipe here, and I'm going to set the width to fill the parent. I kind of pushed them out so they're all pretty much the same size. So I have gone through here and done all those steps that we were asked to do. So what the author says is right now our interface right here should look like this, and that's our interface, and I think it looks pretty good. It's pretty much reflective of what the author has. All right, so it's time to start adding behaviors to the components. As it says, creating a paint program might seem a bit overwhelming to you, but App Inventor has done a lot of the heavy lifting. So a lot of it, again, has already been done. We just have to have call the right method. As the author mentions here, in the designer, you added a canvas component named Drawing Components. Named Drawing Canvas. Drawing Canvas has both a touched event and a dragged event. We'll use the touch event so that a circle is drawn every time we touch our finger on the screen. Okay? We'll use the dragged event so every time you drag your finger across the canvas, you'll be able to draw a line. And then finally, with the other buttons, it'll allow us the red, the green, and the red, the blue, and the green will allow us to change the color of our pen, so to speak. And the other thing later we will allow us to put in our own picture, okay, as it says, and also clean anything we put on here. And again, with the dots I've already mentioned. All right. So the first thing, as it says, we want to go to the drawing canvas, and we want the touched event. So I'm going to go into my blocks editor, find the drawing canvas, which is right there, and find the touched event. There it is. Drag that up. All right. Now the author says here in this note that's on page 8, I believe it is, that this is going to be different from what we did in the last chapter. In the last chapter, we associated something with the click event. All right, because buttons are typically, you associate a button action with a click event. Some handlers require additional information, like the drawing canvas. We will use the touched event, which will provide X and Y coordinates and basically let us know where we want to draw. Those X and Y coordinates are known as arguments, and you'll see this in just a couple minutes. All right, so it says from the drawing canvas drawer, drag out the drawing canvas draw circle command and place that underneath here. And you'll notice when we get done, this is what we'll have, and this parameter will require 3 different arguments. So we want to find the drawing canvas draw circle. So drawing canvas, we want to look for the draw circle. There it is. Click and put it in. There it is. It says we will need to plug in 3 arguments, X, Y, and R. X and Y will specify the location where our circle or dot will be drawn, and R will be the radius, which is the size, basically, of our circle. Now, they go through a couple of other things in here. You might find it confusing, but if you do, you should go back and read it and reread it. It says the drawing canvas touched event also has an X and a Y. The X and Y for the drawing canvas. Touched events, as it says, indicate where the user touched, whereas X and Y for the drawing canvas draw circle are open sockets that, as it says there, specify where the circle should be drawn. All right? So this is what we're going to want to end up putting in here. Get X and get Y. All right? And the author mentions that when you come here, and if you hover over that, you'll see, if you hover over the X, you'll get a get X. And if you hover over the Y, you'll get a get Y. And I believe that, what size do we want to set the radius to? It says for now, let's click 5. And again, there's 2 ways to do this. I can go to Math, grab the blank one that's on the top, drag that in, and change that to a 5, which is a totally fine way to do it. Okay, so I can do that. But if I don't want to do it that way, I can just take my mouse and click in a blank spot here on my viewer, type in the number 5 and hit enter, and it does the same thing. So whichever one you're more comfortable with, or you can use them both, it really doesn't matter. So when it's done, it says this is what our touched event should look like. And I think it pretty much does. Get X, get Y, 5 and true. Get X, get Y, okay. Now I want to quickly check and make sure. So we did the draw circle. I think there's only one draw circle, but they're never mentioning this fill here. So there's the draw circle that we used. And it looks as though that's the only draw circle there is. Okay, that's good. All right, try out what you've done so far. When you touch the drawing canvas, your finger should leave a spot. Well, again, I'm using the emulator, but I should be able to come in here, hopefully now, go back to my designer, and do a connect, and connect with the emulator. I didn't start the emulator up previously, and I should have. My hope is that since I'm not connected to a phone, I'm going to be able to use the mouse to draw, but we'll see. Again, I envision this taking 3 or 4 different lessons, so I won't finish it in the current taping that I'm doing right now. Okay. So I'm going to click. Oh, it doesn't like that. It's not letting me do anything. So I was hoping that it would, but we'll see once we go on. You can see it looks virtually the same as what they show in the book. All right. It says your finger should leave a dot in each place you touch. The dots will be red. Yeah. All right. Okay. Next, you'll add a drag event handler, and then they differentiate between a touch and a drag. A touch is when you literally put your finger on the screen and let it go. A drag is when you hold down with your finger and move it across the screen. So we want to add the drawing canvas.drag block to our workspace. So drawing canvas.dragged. There's our drawing canvas dot dragged right there. All right. So there it is. And it says it comes with a bunch of arguments. Start X and start Y. Start X is the position and start Y are the position on your finger at the point where you began dragging. Current X and current Y, for lack of better words, is kind of where you drag to. Prev X and Prev Y is the immediate previous position of your finger, and drag sprite is a Boolean. True if you dragged on an image sprite, which we're not going to use here. So it says it should look like this, and if we look, that is not what we have. Oh, it is. We want to call draw line, then it'll look that way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right mouse click on our touched event and choose collapse block. It's still there, but we cut it down so we're able to move this one up. All right. If I want to bring it back again, I can right mouse click and expand block. Now it's on top of the other one, so right mouse click and collapse block. Okay? All right. So this is what I'm concerned with right now. Again, the drawing canvas.drawLine block has 4 arguments, 2 for each point that determines the line. It says drag out blocks for the arguments you need. You'll need a get previous X and get previous Y for the X1 and Y1, and a get current X and a get current Y for the X2 and Y2. So when we get done, it should look like this. Get previous X and Y, get current X and Y. Right? Previous X and Y, current X and Y. Previous X and Y, current X and Y. All right. The app you built lets the user draw, but so far everything has been in red, so we'll need to add the event handlers for the color buttons. So we want to open up the red button and drag out the red button click event, and then drag out the drawing canvas.paint color and set that to red. All right. In English, we want to first come in and grab our red button, and we want when it's clicked. So what do we want to do? We want to go to our canvas, and we want to find in here the paint color block. And we want to set that paint color to red. So we'll go to colors, find red, plop that in. Okay, move that over a little bit. I'm now going to come in and I'm going to collapse this block so I can move that over. All right, so that's the first one. I'm going to right mouse click and choose duplicate, and this one will be blue button, and this will be blue, and then I will duplicate again, and this will be my green button, and this will change it to green. All right, so that should set up all three of our buttons. And there's what the author is showing, the same thing there. I used a different version of green. It doesn't really matter. All right. We also want to go to the white button. And what that one should do is it should clear out our canvas. So we want to find the drawingcanvas.clear event for that. Okay? So what we've done so far is we put in the code for our red, green, and blue buttons, but now we've got to worry about our white button right here. Okay? We're by no means done, but we're making progress. So I'm going to go here to my button wipe, do this, which is the click event. All right, come back down to my canvas, find a clear, there it is. Okay, so that's all done. So I've now done everything on page 13. Okay, and you can see the results here on page 14. Now I'm at 17 minutes, so I'm going to stop right here, pick it up in the next part in just a couple minutes.